Hi, this is Ross Shain with Imagineer Systems. Today I'm going to give you a tutorial on using Imagineer's planar tracker, Mocha and Mocha AE, to stabilize jittery handheld footage. Let's start by creating a brand new project. I'm going to bring up the new project window in the upper left hand corner and load a clip. Here we're going to load in a file called camera pan grain. You'll see that this footage is actually very grainy, which is one of the things that traditionally breaks a point tracker. The other thing to note that is if my media lives on somewhere across the network, I am going to select this cache clip button, so I'll get a much better performance when I'm tracking and playing back the clip. The frame rate that you set up in your Mocha project should match the exact frame rate from whichever product you're going to be exporting your tracking data to. Mocha is a planar tracker. Rather than a point tracker which uses small search areas, we're going to create a large shape using this X-spline tool. The entire wall here is a plane, so let's just select a portion of the plane that has some good detail in it. Next, in the Tracking tab, under Motion, we're going to turn off shear, rotation, and scale, because all I want to do is track the X and Y position coordinates of the camera here. To track, we then simply hit the Track Forward button, and off we go, we're tracking. Again, because the nature of the way the planar track works, it allows us to track through things like very grainy footage, things with motion blur, even things that go all the way off screen. And when you're done motion tracking, you can send your export data to the industry's most popular compositing applications. Now that I'm done tracking here, I'm just going to play it back a couple times and make sure that tracking looks good. In the view controls, I'm going to turn on the surface, and with the grid displayed, I can actually just line up the grid plane to the wall just to get a good sense to make sure that my tracking is very accurate before I export it. The grid is just a great visual tool to make sure that you're locked on. When I hit play here, you'll see that my tracking looks great. For more advanced tracking corrections, you can use the Adjust Track tab found next to the Track button, which is covered in previous tutorials. The last thing that we want to do here in Mocha is export our tracking data. Mocha supports many of the industry's standard compositing systems such as Quantel, Autodesk Flame, Smoke, Combustion, Apple Shake, After Effects, Avid DS, Digital Fusion, and Nuke. In this example, though, I'm going to use After Effects transform data because all I want is the X and Y coordinates. I'm going to finish my stabilize in After Effects. Let's just save this text file to the desktop and continue on. By saving the file and exiting out of Mocha. Here in After Effects, we have our same footage loaded. Before we go in and simply paste the data onto our layer, I just want to show you really quickly what would happen if we tried to use After Effects Point Tracker to stabilize this extremely grainy shot. While After Effects has a pretty powerful point tracker, things like grain can really be difficult to track through. And if I hit Stabilize here, let's just look at how our Stabilize looks using the After Effects point tracker. Not really where it needs to be. Now rather than use the After Effects internal tracker, what we're going to do is bring up our keyframes that were created in Mocha, copy them, and simply select the layer that we want to paste them to. We do want to be on the very first frame when we hit paste, and you'll see now that I have animated properties for the anchor point, position, scale, and rotation. Since our goal here is simply to stabilize the camera movement, what I'm going to do is take our position, scale, and rotation keyframes and delete them. With the keyframes on the anchor point, What we have now is a very stabilized image. And there are a couple different techniques that you could actually use to finish this shot. Certainly if you just wanted to stabilize the image, do some paint or some kind of correction, then take the motion out, you could do that. But say that you wanted to actually keep the same camera motion, but smooth out the motion. Here's another quick tip. What I'm going to do is copy the keyframes from the anchor point to the position. Now when I play back, we have an animated anchor point and an animated position doing the same exact thing, which is canceling each other out. And we're kind of back to our original motion. We're then going to use the smoother, which allows us to take the position keyframes. I'm going to crank up the tolerance here to maybe about 10 or so. And what it will do is take all of our keyframes on the position, keep the same relative positioning, but smooth them out to only a couple keyframes. So we have our jittery keyframes on the anchor point, and then we have just our smoothed out keyframes on the position, which is an extremely effective way to then get our pan back, but remove all those little jitters that were bothering us. Now let's take a look at the before and the after. On the left we have our original camera motion, lots of handheld jitters. On our right we have our shot, which was tracked using Mocha. The tracking data was then pasted into After Effects, and we used the smoother to smooth out those keyframes even more. I hope you enjoyed this simple tutorial on using Mocha for image stabilization. And I'd lastly like to point out that you could use the same exact strategy using Mocha for tracking, then smoothing out your image stabilization in almost any other compositing system out there. For Imagine Your Systems, this is Ross Shain.